Mortal Kombat 1 was announced in May of 2023, 4 years after the launch of Mortal Kombat 11, breaking the 2 year cycle that the company had dating back all the way to 2002 with the launch of Mortal Kombat Deadly Alliance, going all the way to 2011 with the launch of Mortal Kombat 9, only being broken by NRS working on the title Injustice. So every 2 years we would get a Mortal Kombat, then an Injustice, then a Mortal Kombat, then an Injustice. But the 4 year gap between Mortal Kombat 11 and Mortal Kombat 1 had a lot of players anticipating a really big launch. I remember people waking up super early because they announced that it was going to be going live at 9 a.m. People were live streaming, and when the trailer finally launched, people were super excited. People were freaking out. People were going in and looking and trying to figure out what was going on with the game. We found out like the kameo system was going to be implemented. People were making videos, speculation. The stress test came out like a month later, and everyone was playing that. If you got into the beta, not everyone got into the stress test or the beta. And the anticipation was super high, but we're only about a year and 8 months from the launch of Mortal Kombat 1, which was in September of 2023. And it looks like we're at the end of the road. The Mortal Kombat Definitive Edition was just announced, and a lot of people are speculating because of the word definitive and the fact that there hasn't been an announcement of anything like a Combat Pack 3, that we're basically done with Mortal Kombat 1. We may get a few patches here and there. We still have the rest of the Pro Comp, which is about 4 more months before we go to Final Combat, as well as a bunch of Mortal Kombat 1 majors that we have coming up. But in terms of getting an update, in terms of getting a big overhauls to the game, and in terms of getting DLC, people have speculated that this is the end. The definitive edition of the game kind of seems like at that other launch, you're able to buy the game with all the DLC in it, including the second combat pack and the second story mode. So it seems like we've reached the end. So it's, this is a good time to kind of talk about what Mortal Kombat 1 was and my kind of thoughts on it. So the cameo system was definitely very interesting. I kind of thought as soon as they announced that there was going to be a cameo system that we were definitely back on the 2 year life cycle. I didn't think, because in 1992 was the launch of the first Mortal Kombat, and every game was just a 1v1 fighter. They released like a tag mode in Mortal Kombat 9, but it was still like one-on-one, and you can tag your opponent in. It wasn't like this assist fighter where you can call your assist in mid combo, or even to use like special moves and stuff like that. It kind of played around with something like that before, but this was really the change and step in a whole new direction. So I really didn't think that they were going to let this go. They were saying that this was going to be the most like they were going to support this game for 3, 4, 5 years. It was going to be the longest supported MK game ever. So, but I feel like they've said that before. I remember when Mortal Kombat 9 came out, I was just a kid, and they said that, there was going to be a ton of DLC for the game, and I went and I bought the Master Edition or whatever it was. I don't remember the exact name of it, but it was basically came with all the DLC, and we only got 4 characters, and that was it. And the fourth, and so, and then eventually we got Injustice, and at that time I was kind of going off and doing my own thing in the world. I just started college, so MK kind of faded into the background of me until Mortal Kombat 11. And that's kind of where my competitive journey started. But Mortal Kombat 1, it was really cool. The cameo system was interesting. It allowed for creativity. It allows for creativity. It allows for you to play your character in different ways other than just the cameo system. It feels like this was really a take on the variation system that was in Mortal Kombat X and Mortal Kombat 11, where you had the base character and then you were able to kind of add different moves, with MKX having 3 different variations and MK11 having 3 different variations until they allowed custom. So you can essentially add 3 special moves, or like sometimes they were like move extensions, stuff like that, like just buttons like normals and stuff, but very few characters had stuff like that. So basically you could add different special moves, and it kind of changed how your character could play, and that's kind of what the cameo system was. Some characters really needed specific cameos to do certain things, while to get pressure and stuff like that, like when Lao was plus on block characters that didn't really have good frame data, character like Reptile, you could have WoW and then go always plus, so you could constantly be plus on your strings instead of needing to rely on just like a stagger game that was kind of non-existent. And so it kind of allowed characters to fill the gaps in their game plan, which I think was a cool idea. I don't know if I would necessarily want it in the next game. I do look forward to there being another game, honestly. So that's why I'm not too bummed out. Some people are kind of freaking out and kind of upset that we're not. But I think this just means that we're getting another game, whether that is an Injustice 3, whether that is a new Mortal Kombat 2 or 12, or whatever they're going to do. This kind of does point in the same direction. I speculate that we're probably a month or so after Final Combat, we'll get some sort of announcement. Maybe the announcement will be that they're stop working on this game. They're working on the next title, or maybe there will be a trailer for the new game. Who really knows? Maybe we are back on the 2-year life cycle. Like I said, I thought we would be on the 2-year life cycle when this game was even announced to have like cameos and appearances. People have complained that the balancing of Mortal Kombat 1 wasn't great. I think at this point it is pretty good, but some characters were just, really good. Kind of the DLC. Peacemaker was launched in an insane state where he was just so good. He basically had like sub armor that came out basically instantly. You could like react to projectiles with force field. His zoning was absurd. His pressure was nuts. He literally could combo. Was like the only character in the game that could combo with striker grenades and Kano knives, just natively, not even off a launch, just with his gunshot, and he was just getting absurd damage. And they kept on trying to tone him down a little bit, tone him down a little bit, and it just didn't really work until eventually they completely gutted the character. And that kind of leads into another aspect of the balancing in this game, where they decided a lot of the time that they would change the health of characters, and people did not really agree with this. I didn't seem to care too much, but I know it's just like, this character has 50 less health, this character has 100 less health. Oh, this cameo gives you 50 or 100 more health, and it kind of makes sense. It's cool. I know Pulse, another Mortal Kombat competitive player and content creator, talked about how, in a game like Street Fighter, it makes sense for a character like Zangief to have extra health, because he's kind of like, he has stubby buns and he has to be in your face and do command grabs. Like, you know what I mean? Like, if that's the archetype of the character where you're kind of like, it makes sense that they're kind of a tanky character, they don't do as much damage, or they kind of lack in other areas, then yeah, give them more health. But it kind of seems like interesting that a character like Havoc has still to this day stuck with 100 extra health and more than other base characters when he was buffed back in Chaos Reigns, which was 8 months ago at this point. And he's still, he was like top 1 when he launched in Chaos Reigns, and he's still a very good character, debatably the best still in the game, and he has 100 extra health. They took away 50 from Peacemaker, took away 50 from Sindel. They gave Conan just recently an extra 100 health. Cameos vary the health. Darius now gives an extra 100. Martaro doesn't take any away. Still Striker to this day, who kind of lackey. Even still with the buffs that they've given him, they made his grenades launch, and they gave him like a gunshot move that it gives you absurd combo ability and safety on a move. Still takes away 50 health and still lacking. You really don't see that many Strikers, unless it's like Kenshi, and Kenshi is kind of dead. I think the balancing this game was pretty good for the most part. Like, I think any character could really do it, and I think at this point it's in a good state. And I think, just from the overall scene perspective, whenever a character is top 1, there's always going to be a top 1 character. There's always going to be a character that's considered the best in the game. It's just the way it works. You know what I mean? And the community is always going to be upset that character is the best and that character needs to be toned down. I don't know if we're ever going to really accept, like, oh, this is the best character in the game, but that's okay and that's good, and that is going to be good with this character being top 1. People are always going to demand for nerfs for the character that is the best, and that's just the way that it is going to work. Another thing that we can go in and talk about is the Pro Tour, at least for the first season of Mortal Kombat 1, was a bit lackluster. It was announced with like a couple weeks before ECT even happened. ECT was announced to kind of like be the first Mortal Kombat 1 major, and then a few weeks before that it was like, oh, it's going to be a Pro Tour event, and people were like, it was to the point where ECT had to extend registrations for Mortal Kombat 1 only, so people who wanted to go because it was a Pro Comp event, because there's only 4 Pro Comp event offlines, and 2 of them weren't even in the United States. One was in Brazil, one was in EU, and then 2 were in the United States, and 1 was happening so soon after they announced it. That it kind of rubbed people the wrong way for a game like Mortal Kombat 11. The Pro Tour was announced like right after the game came out, and there was like a major, like every couple of weeks they had the Mortal Kombat Summit of Time for Mortal Kombat 11, which just kind of launched the game into a crazy competitive state. You had tournaments like Combo Breaker, CEO, Evo, Celtic Throwdown, Viennale, DreamHack Montreal, ECT, NEC were all on the Pro Comp event with 10K pop bonuses, and we got this one. The second Pro Comp event that has come has seemed to be there's more tournaments and stuff like that. It seems to be a lot better, but people were upset about that one, and we didn't even know we were going to get a second one. And that kind of comes with the whole communication thing that people are still upset about. And I tend to seem to wait until we hear more before I kind of jump to conclusions. So it could be the end of Mortal Kombat 1. I don't really know. A lot of people seem to just be like, it is over, and maybe it is, and that's why I feel like it's a good time to make a video like this. But the first Pro Tour was kind of The second one was a lot better, and we still have a bunch of events still coming up, which is going to keep the hype alive for Mortal Kombat 1, at least until, Final Kombat happens, and then who knows what's going to happen after that. Hopefully we get an announcement for some sort of new game soon. But yeah, like I think, the games, there's a lot of things that happen with it. The fact the game also launched without having crossplay in a time where crossplay was basically standard for any fighting game out there. Like Street Fighter launched with crossplay, Tekken launched with crossplay. It's just like the ability to play with PlayStation and play with Xbox players, to play with PC players. And Mortal Kombat didn't have that, and it was a big problem. And when it did come out, people were upset. It wasn't great. It was hard to play with people on PC. Even to this day, people are still saying that PC crossplay with console is not good, to the point where if you're playing on PC, you need at least a player. Like when people host tournaments, the people are in a King of the Hill to just spectate so they can stream the tournament. So if people who are not playing in the match invite someone on PC to a King of the Hill, it tends to be pretty laggy. So you either need the person that's on PC to host the King of the Hill, or the person that is playing against the person on PC to invite them. So there was just a whole slew of problems that was announced, and even now, like the online seems a little just choppy and not that good. And there was times where it was really bad. There was a DLC, I think it was the Peacemaker DLC or the Ermac. There was a DLC that came, I think it might have been when Janet dropped, where online just like was terrible for like a little while. There was other slews of online issues. There was a time where the game would just desync. It's to the point where they were like, you need to let the intros rock. Like if you don't let the intros rock, then there's a high risk that the game will desync, which was very interesting. And even I remember playing back then, I remember letting the intros rock and you would still get desyncs. And the thing is, you would get a loss, so you would lose points in Combat League. It would just be frustrating that it would disconnect and at such a frequent rate, and you would lose your streak and stuff like that. So people like going on streaks for just it's just nice to kind of have that and kind of get that momentum. You get point bonuses and stuff like that. So it was very frustrating, even when the game first came out, before there was even crossplay, and that was a whole other thing. People were like, the screen would just go black. Like you would just be playing, you would play like game 1 and then game 2, and then it would just go black, and you would literally have to reset the game. And it was just so common that like it just the slew of online problems just kind of kept going. There also was is a general problem with the lack of content. Like there was a story mode and there was the invasions, and I'll be real, I personally never even touched invasions. I never went into it once. I didn't really care about it. From what I heard, there was really no reason to go into it unless you wanted to grind for skins or something like that. I don't think people really played it because it was like this fun adventure thing, kind of like the story mode is, or like a one-player game is, where you kind of go in and it's not because you want to get rewarded, but it's because playing it is fun. I don't think really anyone got that. I haven't talked to a single person who played Invasions for the fun of it and was I'm gonna get on Mortal Kombat 1 today because I can't wait to go play Invasions. I just worked my 8-hour shift. I'm exhausted. I just want to unwind by playing some Invasions. I don't think I heard that sentence said a single time. There was no crypt, which is very common in the Mortal Kombat games. Kind of allows you to buy things, stuff like that. It's kind of like in Mortal Kombat 11, it was kind of like like in a way like an RPG, like, I don't know if that's the right word for it, but it was basically like it was kind of like its own little side thing where you can unlock things, but it was also kind of like an adventure, and people really like that. The towers, like in Mortal Kombat 9, they had these like towers that you can climb that had these different challenges and modes, and there was a lot of fun grinding for that, and you were kind of rewarded with unlocking things. In this game, they had like classic towers; those aren't incredibly fun to play. The story mode was kind of boring. Even with Chaos Reigns announced a story mode, that story mode was it's a cool cinematic adventure. But from playing, you're basically just playing. You just kind of have cutscenes into CPU battles, and for me personally, the CPU battles aren't a ton of fun. I enjoyed watching it for the cutscenes. I know people like, because to unlock Havoc, you actually need to play through the story mode. So there's people who kind of skipped all the cutscenes just to unlock Havoc. But if I'm gonna play the story mode, I want to watch what happens. I'm interested in the lore and stuff like that. But as I say that I haven't even played the Chaos Reign story mode, so. It's just crazy. There was just a general lack of content within the game. If you didn't really play online, then the game really wasn't for you unless you're like competing or just like running Combat League or just playing casuals with your friends or people online. Like, this game kind of didn't have a lot to offer you, and that was frustrating for a lot of the player base, a lot of especially the more casual players. I can say for me personally, I did really enjoy this game. I still do really enjoy this game. I don't know if we're going to get more DLC. I doubt that we are, but I look forward to still playing this game. I feel like I definitely got my value from the game. That kind of leads into another thing, is that it seems like whatever NRS did, it was always going to be received poorly by the community. I don't really think there's anything they could, like, if they announced another DLC pack, they'd be like, oh my god, they're so greedy, they just want to get more money. But now they're like, okay, this is we're done with DLC. It's like, oh my god, you're end of the game. It's only been a year and 8 months. Like, well, we're not getting any more DLC. Well, you know what I mean? It's like, no matter what they did. And so I can kind of understand where NRS is coming from, but I understand where the players are coming from as well. Like I said, I personally really like the game. I feel like I got my value out of the game because I spent 100 on the game to get the game and get all the DLC at first, and then I spent, I think, another 60 on the Chaos Reign. So probably spent about 170, 180, I think, on the more expensive side. And I played this game. This game has given me a year and 8 months of entertainment value. I have met a bunch of people going to tournaments through online, through streaming, through making content, that I personally feel like I got more than my money's worth from this game. I still very much enjoy it, and I feel like even outside of this game, I still really, I host Injustice 2 tournaments, and I have been having fun grinding Injustice 2. I haven't really explored MKX yet, and I would absolutely love to do that. I would love to play more Mortal Kombat 9, even the 3D era games. I wouldn't mind going through, playing some towers, learning how to play Reptile and some of those older games. I think that would be a ton of fun. So I'm not really too bummed out. If this is the end and we don't get an update, nor do we get any sort of announcement of a new game, I personally am not going to be too bummed about it. I know some people are kind of, not on that boat at all. And I can understand where you're coming from in that regard. But I personally still like Mortal Kombat 1. I'm still going to play it. I'll still enter tournaments when I can. I don't plan on traveling too much, at least for now. Maybe later on, maybe if they, there's no update or anything like that, but there is a third pro comp, maybe I'll go to some more of those tournaments. Maybe, if this video goes crazy and I make a bunch of money, and maybe I'll use that money to go to a tournament. But for now, I kind of don't really want to spend the money on going to tournaments. Not that I don't enjoy the game, but simply because I have gone to a ton of tournaments in my life. I think this is a good time to take a little bit of a step back and just, focus on making content and focus just on my life. But that is basically what I have for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know, did I miss anything? I'm sure I have. A lot of this was kind of off the top. I had a general script that I wrote actually a little while ago, but I never really got around to making the video. And I feel like now that Mortal Kombat 1 has come to an end, with air quotes. This was a good time to make a video like this. So I really hope you guys enjoyed. If you guys like videos like this, make sure to let me know in the comments. I really appreciate you. If you're new here, please drop a subscription to the channel. I drop videos all the time. I make content around competitive gameplay, around just gameplay in general, tutorials, stuff like that. So if you guys are interested in that, please drop a subscription to the channel, and I'll see you guys at the next video.